Welcome to this morning's Speaking Your Truth, but it's really Moments of Truth. I'm Susan Kerby, and I am bringing you these moments of truth because it is time for us to speak our truth. Oprah says, if you're not powerfully speaking your truth, you will never have the ability to be all you're meant to be. So if you're not speaking your own truth, you'll never be able to be all you're meant to be. Those are the quotes. But what we're talking about today is being all you're meant to be in your giftedness. Yes, in your giftedness. And sometimes being gifted can be a problem. How is that? Well, I think there are many of us who've been given gifts that when we share them or let people know we have them, we've been shamed for those gifts. We're not like encouraged to say the things that other people don't naturally do. And when we get messages or we see things or all those kinds of things, we're told don't tell anybody that they won't know how to work with you. And the truth is, we were given these gifts on purpose. We were given these gifts to share. And I don't know about you, but I looked back over my life. I am gifted, and I'm completely happy being gifted. I am so delighted to be able to share these gifts and love my life that watching everybody get benefit of my gifts. And it wasn't always that way for me because I can look back over my life. And when I was in my 20s, I would just try and hide my gifts. Like I was pretty good at just about anything I tried, except for it didn't always go well for me. So one day I was at a 6-day program and they were doing a very rigorous, challenging physical activities. And one of the things was a mile run, uphill, downhill, over rocks. And the very first day, I ran that mile in 9 minutes and 27 seconds. I was the fastest girl running the course. And I shocked myself because I'm not a runner. And it didn't make sense to me. And I didn't want to be a forerunner, but I didn't really recognize that. But the next day when I was running, I'm like, okay, I got to the top of the hill and I went, okay, it's all downhill from here. And then I tripped and hurt myself. And I kind of hobbled off the course and went, oh, well. And then the person in charge of the well-being for the course came up and talked to me and said, Susan, if you can't be responsible for your own well-being, you can't run. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that's one way out of this. And I said, no, I'll be responsible for my own well-being. But then, the next day when it came time to run, this time I fell right in front of the well-being assistant. And I thought, oh my gosh, like I realized not at the time in my 20s, but later on, I looked back and I went, I sure did trip myself up in life. I looked at all the times I've done that to myself. And so many times when somebody would ask me to do something, they said, get on the phones and register people into this course. And I said, okay. And I came back to them and I'd done that. And they go, your very first call, you registered someone into this course? I'm like, well, yeah, that's what you told me to do. And they looked at me like I was unusual and I didn't want that. So you know what? I didn't register a whole lot more people after that. I struggled. I didn't know why. I would act weird. I just didn't go do that. I wanted to be normal. I wanted to fit in. But you know what? When we go to fit in and we don't use our gifts, we're just not the best. We're not the best of ourselves. And we really want to be who we're born to be. So when I was with Christ in Medjugorje, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to number 2. I talked about being in an argument with God in Medjugorje, and I asked why I was so defensive. That was last week's talk. But when I got the answer of, please don't be your first line of defense, you be vulnerable, I'll keep you safe, I was also told, humble and grateful. I'm like, what does the humble and grateful have to do with anything? What is he talking about, humble and grateful? And I realized as I start to work with my speakers, as I work with the gifted messengers who come to me to get your messages out, that the way we get to be sharing our gifts without being shamed for it, and I call it shamelessly sharing our gifts, is we're humble and grateful. And when we recognize we didn't ask for these gifts aren't ours, like we claimed them, we earned them, they were given to us. And we're in partnership with the divine. So it's it's a way of being grateful for the gifts we have, and a way of saying thank you, and a way of honoring that we have these gifts to share them with the people in our lives, the people we run across. You know, if you've had gifts and you recognize when they're being received and the people just have miracles around you, post that in the link below. Post those in the comments. I would love to hear them. Or if you've had those moments where you've tripped yourself up, I want to hear that too. But my sense is in this positive awakening community that we have together, there are more and more of us who have gifts that we just don't share. And it really is up to us to bring the world the light we have inside and share that light. So when it's time for you to speak your truth, because when you speak your truth, you get to be all you're meant to be. And if you're hiding your truth, you just can't. It's just not going to happen, or the world's going to miss out. So I'm inviting you to honor your God given gifts, claim your gifts, be humble and grateful that you have these gifts, and recognize you're in partnership with the divine. And those ways of being will benefit you and benefit the world around you, and end up benefiting me and the world around me, because the more we share our gifts, the more the world has a positive awakening. And if you like to learn how to speak about your gifts more powerfully, how to really stand in your power and claim those gifts, I would love to invite you to my Speak Your Truth 3-day live event that I'm holding in September. The link for that is below. It's September 23rd through 25th. And I would love to have you join us so we can all learn more and grow together and be that champion for each other, where we all get to shine and be the shiny ones in our lives. Because, you know, there's no harm in being shiny. And you don't have to do anything to prove your shininess. You just have to claim your gifts and honor those God-given gifts. And just do it with being humble and grateful. And it's amazing what you get to have. I love you. And one thing before I leave, I'll just let you know, the more I've spoken my truth, the more the world shapes up the way I'm saying I want it to be. I don't know about you, but this part of when I speak, I get the things, like I feel like God's listening. You know, I'm here in a hotel room in New Orleans, and I had just been, I'm at a speaker event, and I'm about to go speak this afternoon and invite those people to speak your truth. But as I came here, my friend who I were flying with, her plane was delayed 30 minutes. And I'm like, no problem. I'll figure out how to meet her in New Orleans. But I realized I could probably just go to her gate. I'm already in the airport. And I went up to the one gate I found somebody at, and I said, do you know which flight's coming in from Phoenix? And they said, it's right here at this gate, and they're about to come off. I'm like, fabulous. God, you're so good. And then when my friend Patsy got off the plane, and she's like, you're right here. I'm like, yes, isn't God good? And then we went down, she goes, your suitcase is probably stored in some room somewhere or been circling and circling. I'm like, yeah, I'll go find it. And there's just there were a few suitcases left circling on a conveyor belt right near me. And I just walk up straight to where my suitcase is. And I'm like, thank you, God. That's awesome. And as I was getting ready to do this live event, I was saying with someone, you should probably try a ring light. Right now I'm using natural light, but sometimes a ring light is useful in a hotel room. And I was like, a ring light. And I turn around and my roommate goes, I have a ring light. And the other woman who'd come to get help dressed up in for the event, the one who's leading the event, goes, had a whole big bag of ring lights. I had like 5 ring lights drop out of the sky when I just said, I'd like a ring light. So the more we speak our truth, the more the world shows up in service of us. So try it out. Speak your truth, say what you want in life, and claim your power and your gifts. You're awesome. Thank you for being a part of this. Share this if it's made a difference for you. Post down below if it's made a difference for you. And I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday on Moments of Truth. Thank you. Have a great day.